Today we shall read about the story of the two kinds of fortune from the Katha Sarit Sagara. There are two reasons that this story specifically is very interesting. One, there are some mysterious elements in the story that has not been explained. However, that part is not relevant to the story, though it helps in pushing the story forward. The other part about the story is, this story was written nearly 2000 years ago. Despite that, this story is more important now than when it had been written. Let us listen to this story. In the city named Kautukapura, there lived a king called Bahusuvarnaka. Literally translated from Sanskrit, Bahusuvarnaka means the possessor of gold. That was the reason the king was called that. The king had plenty of gold with him and he was generous. However, the king had one particular servant called Yeshavarman. The king paid all his servants lavishly. However, the king never paid anything to this particular Yeshavarman. Once, Yeshavarman asked the king why the king would not pay him. The king pointed at the sun. I will give you plenty of riches, but Surya Deva, the sun god, will not permit me to give it to you. The words of the king were never explained in the story, but for whatever reasons, the presence of the sun in the sky was the reason that the king would not pay Yeshavarman a lavish amount. Finally, Yeshavarman hit upon a lovely way to solve this problem. During a solar eclipse, Yeshavarman went to the king's chambers and asked for wealth. The king was very pleased with Yeshavarman's smartness and gave him plenty of gold and garments. So, using this, Yeshavarman lived a happy life. However, Yeshavarman's wealth was all used up, and he read in the calendar that no solar eclipse was coming anytime soon. Yeshavarman wondered how he could solve this problem. So, he decided to perform severe penance towards Goddess Durga for more wealth. Now, Goddess Durga is a personification of Goddess Parvati. Parvati is the wife of Shiva. And as Goddess Durga, Parvati is a warrior goddess. So, Yeshavarman sat in front of the idol of the goddess and performed severe penance. The goddess appeared to Yeshavarman in his dreams. I am very pleased with your penance, and I will give you what you want. But before that, you have to tell me whether you want the fortune of wealth or the good fortune of enjoyment. Yeshavarman was confused. I do not know the difference between these two kinds of fortunes. The goddess smiled at him. Return to your country and visit the houses of two merchants, Arthavarman and Bhogavarman. There you will find the difference between these two fortunes. Then come to me, and I will grant you the boon that you seek. Yeshavarman woke up from his dream and realized that he now had a new mission. He first went to the house of the merchant Arthavarman. Arthavarman had acquired a lot of wealth in the form of gold, jewels, and many other precious things, and all these adorned Arthavarman's beautiful huge house. Arthavarman had earned all this money by his business transactions. Yeshavarman approached this man with great politeness. Arthavarman was very pleased with Yeshavarman's attitude and welcomed the man to his house for a night. There, Yeshavarman sat by the side of Arthavarman, and food was served to the both of them at night. That is when something strange happened. Rich food came to Yeshavarman's plate, but Arthavarman's plate had dry quantities of very little food. Yeshavarman looked curiously at the merchant. Why do you eat so little? Why is your food not rich? The merchant sighed. What I have had with you today is out of my regard for you as my guest, because even this is too much for me. I cannot even eat this much food because I have a very weak digestive system. I cannot digest anything more rich than this. Yeshavarman thought about this and went to sleep in the rich man's house. There, that was when he found that at night Arthavarman had severe colic pain because of what he had eaten with Yeshavarman. And Arthavarman was even more sick by the morning. Yeshavarman woke up the next day, thanked the merchant for his hospitality, and then went to the house of Bhogavarman. Yeshavarman was very polite there too, and he found himself invited to Bhogavarman's house for dinner. Bhogavarman's house was, however, not as big as Arthavarman's house. He did not have as many riches or expensive dresses or ornaments as Arthavarman. But whatever he had, Bhogavarman enjoyed it to the full. After Bhogavarman called Yeshavarman, one of Bhogavarman's friends, Yeshavarman, also came there, and he also joined them for dinner. All the three of them had a rich and enjoyable dinner and shared stories with each other. At night, Yeshavarman went to sleep very happily, because it was that moment that he realized the question that the goddess had asked him in his dream. Needless to say, Yeshavarman woke up the next day and went to the temple of the goddess and asked for the good fortune of enjoyment and not of wealth. The goddess was very pleased with this, and since that day, Yeshavarman always had enough for his needs, and he enjoyed whatever he had in his life. I hope you enjoyed the story.